The opinions of this program do not necessarily reflect those of Rochester Free Radio, its underwriters, and supporters.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We've also got our brother Brian McKenzie in the house. He's in here, and he's going to be shouting out to you guys in a couple of minutes. As we come in on this great show this week, we've got a lot of stuff just coming off of, we're here, it's Monday. We're just coming off of crazy news on Sunday. We've got all other types of stuff going on around the country. And man, boy, howdy, I'll tell you what, you ask me, is New York looking better or worse off? Nothing much has changed in New York State. Everything's still going straight down the tube.
Same old.
Same old, same old. And I'm working on doing what I can to help encourage you guys to get active and get out and start participating in government so that we can actually make the difference that we need inside our state, inside our nation, so that we can better our future and the future of the children, so that we together can actually continue to rise and move forward as a nation. America is founded on very serious principles of unity. It's founded on principles of fierce independence. It's founded on principles that require us as American citizens, when we see government doing stuff that it has no business, to stand up, to speak up, and not to shut up. And it encourages us more so than that to take action. And it's the action part the most that's important. If we don't stand up and take action ourselves, nobody is coming to save us. Nobody is going to do anything to help us. Nobody is going to come here and say, oh, poor Americans, let us give you some food. Let us give you some money. Let us make sure that your kids get the proper education. Let us make sure that your future is bright and wonderful. Nobody's doing that. We send aid all across the world. We've got USAID. We use that as a tool to manipulate countries and governments and stuff like that. In the meantime, you got to ask yourself, is that money that's being spent in any other country actually helping Americans?
And look at the details behind it too, what they spent on.
Oh man, it's just so phenomenally great, egregious amount. It's ridiculous. We go forward, we see Ukraine. Zelensky just posted a thing last night. Oh, I appreciate Biden so much for everything that he's done, and this, that, and the third. And basically, Zelensky's just like, where's my money? You gonna give me money? Is the money that you promised me, is it still coming?
But you're a lame duck. You can give me anything you want now.
You know, yeah, it's a problem. It's a very serious problem as we see the issues in our country, in our nation, get more serious every single day. We see the illegal aliens flooding through the borders, going into urbanized areas, taking a lot of the jobs that are for basic entry-level workers, the everyday man, a job that anybody graduating from high school could get, or even those who haven't graduated.
And remember, they don't always show up on job reports because a lot of them are working under the table for little bits of money, here and there, where they could be hiring, Americans to do those same things.
Exactly. And they talk about it and they say, oh, well, this is good. This is good. Who is it good for? The people that are at the top of this pyramid that are pushing this illegal alien invasion on us are just basically creating another slave class that is under them, that is completely dependent on them for every single thing that they get. Now, we must make sure that we're paying attention to this. We've got to focus on what's happening. These illegal aliens are taking resources. They're taking Medicaid. They're taking Social Security. They're taking everything that you need as far as hospital funding and all of that. It is a very, very, very serious issue, and we need to address these issues. But more than that, right immediately yesterday, Biden decided that he was, well, I'm not going to run anymore. And I don't know if you guys read that letter. There was no letterhead on the letter.
No presidential seal. Nothing.
His signature was questionable. It was very, very, very.
Grand. No.
It was. Well, no, it was just. It was so neat.
Yeah.
It was so neat.
Oh, yeah.
For anybody, more or less somebody that has severe cognitive decline.
Yeah.
Like, this is stuff that we need to have a conversation about. And at first, he didn't go as far to endorse.
No, he did that after.
Then now they're saying, oh, he endorsed her through a message on.
He let his staff know 1 minute before he released that letter too. His senior staff, literally 1:45, he met with them, told them, all right, we're even though I told you guys that I'm sticking in this, we're not. And then a minute later, boom, it's all over the news.
This is crazy. It's a real serious issue. And we have to address these type of issues that keep coming up more and more. We see the people that are in the government talking about they represent us, making decisions that are in their own best interest, in the interest of their friends and their benefactors, but they're not actually in the best interest of the American people.
No, they never are. It's just constituents don't matter. It's I'm gonna run on these and then I'm gonna do this. That's the whole difference. That's why I say whenever you're gonna go vote, look at what the person ran on, what you voted for them for, and then look at what they've been voting for when when bills are on the line, when policies on the line. See if it matches up. If it doesn't, time to change your vote. That simple.
And it's very important that we remind people, if you're listening to this, depending on what state you are, because some states have open primaries, but in the general election, you can vote for whatever candidate, no matter what the party. In New York State and across the nation, I encourage you, if you're independent, if you're Democrat, make sure in November that you vote Republican. You don't even need to change your party to do it.
No, if you want change, if you're sick of the same old status quo, if your neighborhood's getting crushed by crime, and they're telling you, well, it's all good because it's all for racial justice, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm a minority and I have no justice here. Maybe you want to realize the Democratic Party isn't looking out for you and hasn't been the last 50 years. But you got to make changes in order for changes to happen. So it starts with voting.
Voting is one of the most important things, and when we get into it, if we don't focus on getting people out to vote, it's going to be a very small minority of people who decide to vote and what's going to be done in our country.
And remember, New York State's it's don't enough with the attitude, oh, it's just going to go Democrat, so I'm not going to go vote. That's not the truth anymore. This has actually been, New York has been switched over to almost a swing state at this point. I mean, you got Lee Zeldin who almost won. You got, Singletary who almost won the congressional district last time. And you got, polls showing that the Republican candidate for president is within, almost the margin of error at this point. So
in striking distance.
Yeah, within striking distance for sure. So if you think, oh, my vote doesn't count, it does. And like Laura Trump's been saying, she says, in order to make this happen, vote early, first day of early voting, and then bring other people to the polls. Get people in your neighborhood who have the same views as you, who may not go vote. Say, hey, I'll give you a ride up there. Let's go vote. Let's go vote. Let's go vote. Get them up there and get people to vote, because every voice matters now. And that's just a fact.
It's so clear now more than ever that people need to go vote. Many people are fed up with the election system. And me too.
Mm-hmm.
I vote every time for everything. Let me tell you how serious voting is for me. I go and I'll vote for a new Starburst flavor. I don't even eat Starburst. Okay, that's how serious it is to me.
And read the back of the ticket too.
Oh well. Listen. We need a whole episode on
right.
the ERA and this Prop 1 that's coming up. Vote no if you're in New York State. Turn the ballot over. Vote no. It's really weird because any of these constitutional amendments they always try to make on the state level, anything they try to hide from you on the back of the ballot, you really always almost want to vote no on it.
Well,
every single
time.
time.
From you, it's not very popular then. So,
but that's what it is. That means that they couldn't get it through even their house or the House is in New York State is our assembly. Other people call it the state house in other states, but they couldn't get it through there and they couldn't get it through the Senate. So they're trying to do this and change it all at once.
Which means it's super radical.
It's absolutely insane. The ballot for Prop 1, it got knocked off of the ballot in the court because they did it malfeasance, like to get it on there to begin with. But then they got the appeals court, which is all run by people who are very, very, very much so activist judges, not judges that just uphold the law the way they're supposed to. And that's a serious issue.
But they're the first ones to literally bash SCOTUS, like they're the worst things ever. When in reality, most judgments come down 9-0, 8-1. But they don't like to talk about those. They like to talk about the ones that are closed, that don't go the way they've gone for them the last 55 years. They've legislated from the bench for years upon years with unpopular policies. And now that it can't happen, they're actually following the Constitution. It makes them enraged. And again, I'll get into that with the Save the Democracy whole thing. But
Wait. You mean that the Supreme Court of the United States of America, whose job is to uphold the Constitution, is now upholding the Constitution, and people are getting mad at them for upholding it?
Yeah, that equal branch of the government that they're saying we need to alter and do this with it, do it. It's just funny when you hear the executive branch, which is no more powerful than the judicial branch, saying they're going to overhaul that. Can you imagine Congress saying we're going to overhaul the executive branch? I mean, it's ridiculous to say. There's
Well, they've done it though,
Yeah,
haven't they? They took away Biden's ability to have the nuke codes and launch the nukes.
Yes, true.
Now that has to go through Congress. The president used to before be able to decide that. I don't really want Biden to have the nuclear codes, but taking that ability away from the president is very serious authority to take away, because nothing goes through Congress at any type of reasonable pace. And how are you going to get all of them there at 3 o'clock?
We're annihilated.
Yeah, right. Everything. Listen, everything is a smoldering ash. It's going to be like what's the video game Fallout?
Yeah, right.
It's ridiculous.
Well, the whole thing is it's all big government. That's what happens with big government. When there's the biggest thing in the Republican platform. First of all, let's get Project 2025 is not the Republican platform. I hate that. I keep seeing it from the left and right. It's not the platform. Trump distanced himself from that in Michigan the other day and said, "This is a the Heritage Foundation wish list. It's not the RNC platform." So, anyways, with the RNC platform, it's come down to basically deregulation, and people don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, the deregulation is crazy. It's a real serious issue. We don't talk about those type of issues at all. We don't talk about deregulation. We don't talk about the fact that we have all of these regulations that are put on that are very arduous and very heavy on many different industries. And it's not just industries. We're talking about regulations that face you every single day. Small business.
I saw with him in Detroit, Trump in Detroit, talking to the black church, where they were saying, Mr. Trump, there was 2 people there that had businesses that they were not able to start for forever, basically, because they had the money for the cost of the good stuff, but they didn't have the money for all the fees and permits and this. And when the opportunity zones came, they were able to begin a business. And then when the regulations went swarming back, guess what? They 2 of them went under out of the 3 of them. And it's regulations are more important than tax cuts. They're more important than anything. Deregulation makes everyday Americans be able to start a business, be able to function, and big corporations be able to pay their people more money. People say, "Oh, the tax cuts help the big corps and wealthy." No, if we saw during the Trump administration, people were getting bonuses for the first time, Christmas bonuses for the first time in decades. People were seeing the average wage increase for the first time in 68 years.
Well, we've also been told that the tax cuts that were made under the Trump administration only benefited the wealthy. That was a lie. That's a whole lie. They had CBO, the Central Budget Office, which is a nonpartisan organization that is an actual part of the federal government. Their job is to say, hey, what's going on with this bill? How much is it really going to cost? Where's the money going to come from? Do we actually have the money to fund this? That's their whole job. So they said that and the IRS said it too. They said what we actually saw was the largest impact in reduction of taxes was on the working and middle class.
Correct. Yep.
But nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to share that. And now we've got this whole concept where a ton of people are like, "Oh, well, it only benefited the 1%. Well, how do you know that?
Yeah.
You're not a member of the 1%, so you couldn't tell me that it was from you. So how do you know that? Somebody had to tell you. And now that means that you have to consider where you're getting your information from.
Well, we know the information. But asking someone on the left to prove something during a debate is like watching a deer in headlights. They say you got to save our democracy. I said, how? How's Trump gonna ruin our democracy? I swear they look at me like,
we don't even have a democracy. We have a constitutional republic. I mean, that's not.
Well, it's an insane statement, to say the least. And if anything, like I was telling you earlier, they're thwarting democracy in order to quote unquote save democracy by redoing the Supreme Court, by literally ousting a primary winner because they didn't think they could win. It's that simple. It's really that simple. And then doing things like trying to get Trump off the ballot, lawfare, things like that. That's not saving democracy. That's crushing democracy.
What do you mean? Of course, it must be saving democracy by getting the guy who was, what they say, literally Hitler off the ballot, right? He's literally Hitler. Literally. Like, do we need a dictionary? I feel like I need to pull up a dictionary and look up the word literally, because maybe that means something to them that I don't know that it means.
But to someone uninformed who's a little unhinged, you know what that could mean? It means I better take out Hitler. That's what
You
it
remember,
means.
right? But you remember what was that? What was that movie? The Princess's Bride.
Yeah.
The Princess
Yep,
Bride.
Yep.
I don't think that word that you're using means what you
Yep.
think that it
I don't
means.
think that means what you
I
think
don't
it
think
means.
that means what you think it means. And you know, you mentioned the project first, real quick. If you guys are listening to us on the radio, make sure that you let all of your friends and family know. Tune in Mondays from 2:30 to 4 p.m. on WRFZ 106.3 FM Rochester Free Radio, and listen to The Divide. And if you are listening to us online, make sure that you subscribe and share. Sharing is the best thing that you can possibly do. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. All right, back into it. Now, you mentioned Project 2025. Now, I'm quite familiar with Project 2025, and it's nothing like what the people are saying that it is.
It's not.
You know, they're like, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. Now, largely, it's 900 pages. So the people that are using it as a false flag are like, oh, well, it does all of these things because they know you're not going to read, you're
They
not
got
going to
their
read
info
900
from Twitter.
pages.
That's
you
where
know?
they got their info.
And they've got these nice little, what do you call them, infographic nonsenses. They're
That
like, it
scroll
does all
down
of these
and-
things, and it's all terrible. First of all, even the bad things that it says, half of the things that they're saying are bad. I'm like, that doesn't sound, it's going to get rid of the
It's
Board of
less
Education. That
radical
doesn't
than
sound
their agenda. Put it
bad
that way.
to me, you know? Like, it's crazy. I think that a lot of people don't understand that the Board of Education on the federal level wasn't instituted until Jimmy Carter.
Correct.
And since that time, our rating, as far as international rating for educational quality, went from like 1, we're like 46 now.
Mhm. Yep.
And this is a very serious problem. And this is something that Project 2025 talks about as far as recrafting the bureaucracy. It's got nothing to do with laws. It's not going to change any laws.
No.
It's not going to make any new regulations because we just had the SCOTUS
guideline,
decision.
yep.
We just had the Chevron deference was struck down. So they're not going to make any regulations. The best that they can do is restructure and remove regulations.
Correct.
So people are talking all crazy about it, and it's legitimately about the different departments in government, not anything to do with legislation at all. But people say that it is, and now they've got Trump up there, and a lot of people are not happy about him getting up there and talking about, oh, I don't know if you saw it or not.
Michigan?
Yeah, he's like, oh, well, the Project 2025, I don't know anything to do with that or whatever. I might know some of the people, but I don't really know anything about that. But it's kind of a lot like you've got the far
right,
you got the far right, and you got the far left, and it's kind of the same, like the left extremists, and this is like the right extremists. I'd appreciate that. And I said what I said. So I say that as a member of the Frederick Douglass Foundation and the Douglass Leadership Institute, which is a Black-focused conservative group, which encourages Black Americans to get involved in politics and share their conservative views and actually get active. Yes. Now they helped craft some of the Project 2025. The Heritage Foundation has long time been a partner with them. So all of this stuff about, oh, it's bad, oh, it's racist, all of this, it's lies. It's lies, lies upon lies.
It's just like they say that the DeSantis things were, racist. Anything they can pull the R word out for, that's what they're going to do. But if you look into it, anybody with common sense would say this is not racist.
Well, it's the continued softening of the mind of the American people.
Yep, and keeping people as victims. If you can keep them as a victim, everything's racist. But
well,
once people realize they're not a victim,
if you tell them that they're coming for everything that they've told you to care about,
yes,
whether you should care about it or not, that is a separate question. You know, like I think the baby sacrifice and child sacrifice, I think that that's wrong and that's not right. But apparently a lot of people think that child sacrifice is all right. I mean, maybe I should open up a business and we have child sacrifices on the weekend. I mean, it's and I say that as a joke, 100% a joke, but I'm also kind of like, at this point, you probably could, because you got the, where was it? Is it Ohio? I want to say it's Ohio. Don't quote me on Ohio. It was over there in the Midwest somewhere. The Church of Satan opened up a abortion clinic because they said that it was part of their religion to have ritual child sacrifice. Are you not listening? The people are telling you what they're up to and what they're doing. Like, we can't have serious conversations about anything because everybody in America right now is so polarized and so siloed that they're walled off from reality.
Correct. And it's either one extreme or the other. To the people who are uninformed, they're always thinking, oh, well, if this person gets in, they're going to ban abortion. When, I like it at the debate, and since then, Trump's kind of took that head on and said, you know, although he's a pro-life individual, he says you have to get elected in order to be able to, ensure, real things happen. And like he said, if that means doing what 80% of America believes in early term abortion, that's one thing. He said, but I'm so glad he talked about the extreme views. It's the first time I've heard it in debate. A Republican actually bring up the extreme views of that 85% of people are against. And it was like, I've been waiting for someone to bring that up, because I'm saying, well, 80% of people think there should be some for, rape or this and that. The 85% of people also believe the third term, late term is crazy. And he actually brought that up.
So I didn't really have a lot of affinity with them trying to soften the stance on the right of life of children. I think that is wrong. Okay, but I am 100% for making sure that we don't have late-term abortions.
Correct.
In New York State, we have up to and after birth abortions in New York State.
Yep.
And people will tell you, oh, that's not a real thing. It is a real thing.
There's been more
Go
abortions
look into
since
it.
Roe and Wade were struck down than there was before it in the exact same amount
They don't
of time.
want
So
to. They don't
remember
want
that.
to. They don't want to talk about that. I spoke to somebody the other day, and we were talking. They're a far left person, individual, and we were talking about other stuff that we could agree on, and stuff that's going on in the city locally and stuff like that. And then she brought up, like, when I told her I was Republican, she brought up, like, well, how do you feel about them trying to get rid of women's rights? So what are you talking about? What women's rights, right? Women's rights are human rights. That's what they always tell us, right? Like, they have the same rights that we
right.
have. So I mean, if a woman can have an abortion, I should be able to force a woman to get an abortion. Is that
Correct?
we're making everything equal now, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm told that, I shouldn't have a say because I'm a man. I shouldn't have a say because I'm a man. What about all of these childless women up here talking about, everybody should be able to have free abortions? Well, maybe you shouldn't be able to talk on that because you don't actually have any children.
Exactly. Or if you're a man, you don't have any say. But that goes to their whole agenda of fathers not being around. I mean, that goes to the whole thing. Fathers don't have say, so why should they be around? It's secular. It really is. If you look at the whole agenda, it goes to that.
They don't want males to have any power. They want to steal any power. Remember, we got here from it's toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
What is toxic masculinity? We got all of these. I don't know if you've seen all the videos since the Democrats introduced that bill, and it was the Democrats that introduced the bill to put everybody automatically into the draft. Okay, the Democrats introduced that. Yep. That's your Democrats, people. Okay, remember, they want the women to get in there too, and the transgender, non-binary, Afarian, two-spirited is whatever else he is, put them on the front line. Okay, I want them in the infantry, first line, first battalion, go out. Operation Human Shield. I'm just saying, let's see how it works out. But I joke, but I'm serious as far as the fact that they've stripped men of masculinity and of that sense, because the men are supposed to be the leaders in society.
It's the demonization of men, like you said, because they are the leaders of society. And I'm not saying that puts women in the court. No, nothing like that. I'm saying that masculinity is a good thing. It has been throughout history, and without it, we wouldn't be where we are today. It's that simple.
The crazy thing is they're like, oh, we've got all these girls online and stuff now. I saw a new video yesterday. This one girl, she just graduated, right? And she was in tears, talking about, I am so mad that I can't have the one job in life that I want, which is to be a stay-at-home mother, because some woman fought for me not to be a stay-at-home mother. Who decided that was what I wanted?
Right.
So it starts to make you question. You've got all of these women now are very angry and cantankerous, especially that are starting to get older in age, that are more so lonely. And we've got this loneliness epidemic. It's adding to the mental health issues in men and women.
All that stuff,
So, and we talk about it like it's nothing because it doesn't exist. But if we were really to sit down and analyze what's going on, this only started to happen when they started to remove the man as the head of household and break up families, encourage promiscuity, and then tell you to destroy your babies.
Yep, correct. The welfare system is the same thing. It rewards you for not having a man in the home, making money, supporting his family, and you'll see it all over. You'll see it especially in poor rural areas and poor urban areas, and you're seeing it because those people need the money. The government knows they need the money, so that's the way they feel like they can get money. And what happens is then you're once you're under the government thumb, there's no ladder. You're never going to receive a ladder from the government. Remember that. So it's just a way for them to take you out of the equation, chalk you up as a vote, and then never ever do anything for you again, other than give you the crumbs to.
That's what it is. And they'll always continue to promise you more and more and more.
Especially close to election.
It's very interesting how they're always promising you more, but you always seem to need more because of the stuff that they've put in place. The laws and the policies they've put in place are the reasons why you need more and more.
Well, the one pastor said to Trump, he said, why is it that the same areas that were ghettos during when my grandfather was alive are still run down, poverty riddled today? He said, you're telling me in 80 years they couldn't have done anything to make these neighborhoods better. And it goes to show, well, how do you make it better? You don't give someone more welfare to make a neighborhood better. That's not how it works. Bottom up and middle out, whatever that nonsense is.
It's crazy. You know, Sheila Jackson Lee just passed. She was a terror. Okay. She was not only was she all about empowering the government to give the government more power. Remember, small government is where the key is, because that gives you as an individual more sovereignty and power over yourself and your local community. But she wanted the government to have more. Her area where she represents is all torn up in tatters. Okay, but she calls herself a champion for those in poverty and Black people. But the people that are in her area are living in squalor. The crime is out of control and all of this. Same thing. You look at what's his name, Bowman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
You look at Bowman. You look at all these other people.
Bush, you see a lot.
All of it in their districts. You know.
They're horrible.
It's crazy.
But the thing is, they use scare tactics to terrorize them into thinking, oh my God, we're going to lose all this, and then we have nothing. Rather than telling the truth, saying, listen, for example, Montana has a system that gets you on your feet and allows for you to progress. It's understandable if you have a debilitating illness, but it should be also done by class and not skin color, how the left divides people. We need this, for this type of group, for this group, for gay people, for this. How about doing it by fixing schools? By doing things that matter, by getting criminals off the street, so businesses will move in. I mean, Rachel Barnhart said Wegmans won't go to Clinton because they're racist, but that's far from the truth. We all know the reality behind the situation.
I want the Wegmans back on Mount Hope. Hello, come on now. I'm not asking for a miracle here.
Right, that was a great one.
I wanted the Wegmans not to leave Midtown. I wanted them not to tear down Midtown. So very clear, it's not what the people want.
No.
Okay, are we being really serious right now? The thing is that we have been sold a lie about the economy. We've been sold a lie about education. And right now the education system is making it so that people that are graduating, if they graduate, are not even able to really get a job in any sort of a competitive market to actually rebuild the communities that they live in. So if you don't see a brighter way, a better path forward for yourself and for your family in the future, you're going to turn to what? Crime. You're going to turn to what? Hopelessness. You're going to turn to what? Drugs.
Illegal ways of making money. When the money isn't able to be made legally because you don't have a sufficient education, you know what? Some of that stuff seems pretty tempting to support your family with more money. But then what happens? You get a felony. It's cyclical.
But that's the game. That's the game.
Exactly.
They want you in prison. They want you.
The left says the system's rigged against you, but they're the ones who rigged the system against you.
Yes. You know, I'm not sure where this quote is. And it bothers me so bad that I don't remember, but it was a good quote. Quote goes, it says, the problem with America isn't that it's rigged so certain people win. They said that it's rigged so nobody loses.
Yes.
I said, wow, that's really powerful. It's not 100% on point, but it's a really powerful concept there.
It's so you never fall so far as to have to bounce up on your own.
Yes, they don't want you. Exactly.
You fall on a bed and you lay there for a while.
Yes.
And you sometimes permanently. You never fall onto rocks or sharp stone where you have to get up and you have to run out of there. That's exactly what that means. And it's all about basically a two-class system, what it comes down to in the long run.
Well, now they're adding a new class in there, and that's these illegal aliens, to get rid of the people that are right now the working class, or those that
which
would
will
be
put us on par.
But they want something to be able to control us.
Exactly.
It's like when the the shogunate got into power in Japan, the samurai were paid in rice.
Mm-hmm.
Rice isn't easily transportable. Yep. Rice isn't real money. Okay, but it keeps them in check and keeps them in line under the shogunate. And the people that are the farmers and the working class and stuff like that, are raving against the samurai because they're like, oh, the samurai are oppressing us. But really, it's the people in the shogunate at the top of the pyramid are oppressing them, and they're oppressing. You know, but we don't see that. And if we were, and it's something for us to snatch at.
Yeah.
They just, it's like, ooh, shiny, snatch at this right now, or over here. No, it's over here. Snatch at that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And there's a big thing out there blaming the media for the misinformation. Like, you know, oh, they don't tell the truth unless, and they don't get me wrong. But I also blame the masses because people used to do the research and people don't anymore. People just take things on face value as it is, the narrative at hand.
Excuse you. How dare you bring up doing your own research?
Right?
Doing your own research makes you a conspiracy theorist, sir. At least that's what I've been told over the last couple of years, especially during COVID, right?
Absolutely.
They had that on the news, like that was on the news.
But now,
if you do,
Trump's setting up his own freaking execution.
If you do your own research, this is crazy, people. This is real. Go look it up. They said if you do your own research, that is a hallmark of being a conspiracy theorist.
Or even if you're a doctor with the same credentials or better than Anthony Fauci, if you have an opinion, you are part of the problem. You're a conspiracy theorist. And
you mean Fauci, the dog killer?
Yeah, right. It's true. I mean, it's a people killer. And he, the whole thing comes down to that people have, the society's been dumbed down. If you look at the Marxist playbook, it's right from the top. You can just check it off. I think we're in step 5 now. It's ridiculous. Because the fact of the matter is, when the media controls what you think, and these are the same people, we all, for the most part, 98% of the population, about 2 decades ago, agreed, you know, we need someone who's not a career politician in there. We need someone who's a business person or something that doesn't, don't believe the government, you know, at face value. Yep. And then all of a sudden, half the population just said, I'm going to take every narrative at face value and believe it. And it's crazy. And they're like, I don't want this guy. He's a business person. I want you want the career politicians. And it's crazy. They've convinced you that you want the career politicians.
I don't want none of them, bro. Listen, I'm all about small government. I'm about trimming the heck out of the federal government. Okay. If you ask me, I want to trim the state government too. Return to power as close as possible. You know, county, city government. That's where it needs to be. The people that I can reach out and touch when I got an issue.
Yeah, exactly. Okay? And you can hold accountable.
I want to hold them accountable. You know, this is a problem, and there's no accountability on the state level. There's no accountability on the
try to call
level.
your congressman or senator.
I'm trying to tell you, Schumer hasn't done one thing this year, or I should say year, right? Well, how long has he been in office this term? 2 years? No, 2 years so far in this term. Yeah. But it's a what, 5-year term? 6-year term? 6 years. Yeah. So I don't like anything he's done in his whole career, really. But since he's got elected, he definitely hasn't listened to me. I sent him emails, sent him calls. He ain't listened to me. He ain't do one thing that I want him to do yet. And this is a problem because they're like, oh, well, whose interests do they really look out for? They look out for their own interests. Yeah. Well, they look out for who's paying them.
Look at the activity of a politician right the year before they get election comes around. I mean, it's crazy. These guys are hustlers. They're running around like crazy. They get up early. They go to bed late. But as soon as they're elected, it's like, hey, are you going to shut up? You know, that's what they tell you. Just shut up and fall in line till next election.
What? And then they'll run on their accountability. They're like, I'm for accountability. What accountability? There's no accountability. What accountability? Then they'll raise their own wages. They'll raise their budget. Yeah, right. In the meantime, they're taking more taxes from you to pay themselves, but you don't get any more money. Well, how dare they, bro? It's so insulting.
It is insulting.
What did they raise it? The state assembly raised their own pay last year, 29%. 29%. Did you get a 29% tax reduction?
No, I'm going to say no.
No, I didn't either. No. I didn't get a 29% tax reduction. So how are they getting all this extra money?
No,
we're not getting anything. Why do they deserve it? They don't deserve it. They haven't done anything that I really care for. Honestly, I look at it like this. The majority of the regulations that are out there, we don't need those. And I don't need them to put any more in.
Correct.
Okay. I don't need them to keep adding more and more and more. So we automatically count out them making any new regulations. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't need any new laws. They automatically count all of those out. Yep. Okay. And
I just need you to fix the existing laws.
And aside from that, maybe the budget, and that's about it.
Exactly.
Okay. And I really don't like the way that they're doing the budget either.
No.
But if we cut out all of that, we don't cut out 2/3 of what they're actually up there doing,
right?
Which is a whole bunch of nonsense anyway.
Not to mention, for every elected person we have in our state or country or whatever, you got to figure they have a staff full of people. No. So the unelected bureaucracy is huge in Washington.
That's what State. Project 2025 is about.
Yes,
trimming
exactly.
down the bureaucracy.
And the best part about it is the chief of staff in the Senate in the Congress makes more than the congressman. I mean, it's insane how much they make.
Did you see when Trump was president that he put a hiring
Yep.
freeze on government jobs.
Correct.
And they're like, it's terrible. The whole government's gonna fall apart.
Yep.
Woo! And they were screaming and wailing and hooting and hollering. Go look it up. If you're not familiar, go look it up. He put on a hiring freeze and they were pitching a fit.
Yep.
Why? That means you spend less of my money. I'm all good for it.
Right.
We got a deficit that's out of control that'll never get paid off at this rate. And the interest keeps accruing. The interest costs more than our national GDP almost.
And show me where we need more. I mean, that's the biggest thing is show me where we need more.
You know, it's so insane. When he froze government hiring, the country didn't collapse. The bureaucracy didn't collapse. It didn't take your stuff any longer to get processed or anything like that. And this is a real serious issue. And as we continue down this path, I want to remind you, you're listening to WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. And if you're listening to us online, make sure that you like, share, subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Subscribing is the best, most awesome thing that you can do. And definitely share, because sharing kicks the algorithm to get it out to more people. So as we continue down this road of working on trimming large government, right? Like, they don't need any more employees in the government. Why do they? And I know some of you out there that are listening are like, well, I'm a government employee. I need my job. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if we're trying to actually create better, higher paying jobs, we need to be looking to the private sector to create those jobs. But we haven't been able to put in a framework to encourage private industry in our country. Everything to encourage private industry is very high fences and high walls preventing people from getting in. What do they call those? They call those barriers to entry. Okay. And there's a very high barrier to most things of entry. And it's very hard to get business funding, right? A lot of states and cities and stuff have started to put in things like, oh, it's this small funding. Oh, it's that small funding for small businesses, or the Small Business Administration and stuff like that. But it's still not easy for a lot of businesses. And let me not even say easy, right? I'm saying it's not even within a moderate effort available for people to even access it with many businesses. And that's very difficult, because the number one cause for collapse of businesses is not enough access to working capital. And that's a very real thing. You can look that up. The SBA will tell you, which is crazy, because they're the ones who are supposed to give out money that don't want to give out no money. But we've got this other money, these ARPA funds, and a lot of the ARPA funds aren't on schedule to be spent until 2030. How is that? I thought that was supposed to be for COVID. If they would have pumped all that money right back into the economy like they should, giving it to businesses, giving it to people, it would have went right back to work for all of the people, all of the taxpayers and everything. But they didn't want that. They didn't really want to help you. They didn't really want to save our country or improve anything. That's why right now we got like $300 million in ARPA funding sitting at the county. Don't nobody know how to get it. Can't nobody figure out how to get it. And whenever something's up, don't nobody tell nobody how to get it. Are we being real right now? This is for friends and cronies and stuff like that, and people that are in the know. The information is not openly and exposed, so people can actually go after these things. And this is a very serious problem, but that's how it works on all levels of government right now. And that's why we need to return the focus to the people, return the focus to the common man, so that we can be able to access what they promise us. Just give us what we're owed, right? Like you said it. Like I'd prefer that you didn't have any taxes, right? I'm all for abolishing income tax, completely gone. Okay, lower sales tax, get rid of the gas tax in the state, all of that. Okay, I don't think that there should be hardly any taxes. All right, you should keep the money that you earn. You earn that money, you should keep that money. Property taxes, come on now. All of this stuff is crazy, and it's real serious, and it's a hindrance towards the majority of Americans for helping them be able to be more productive and to be able to build generational wealth. How are you going to build generational wealth when the government is constantly trying to confiscate it from you? You know, and there are some people that do get on a path to generational wealth, and I'm very happy and proud of them. Good luck, you guys, man. You guys are doing great. You know, but it's not easy for a lot of people because the knowledge is hidden. The knowledge is difficult to get. You start off in high school, and most high schools, especially in New York State, especially in urban areas, okay, they don't have home ec. They don't teach you how to balance a checkbook. They don't teach you basic financial literacy. They don't teach you what the credit score is. Okay, they don't teach you how important these things are, the basic things that you would need to understand how the matrix that we are in actually works. And by the time you figure it out, normally you're already behind. I know a lot of people whose parents have ruined their credit because they got cell phones on their social or cable or gas and electric under their name and stuff like that. I know you guys probably know some people like that. You might be a victim of that yourself from one of your parents. But we're not told about how to navigate these systems, and I had this conversation with somebody before. Everybody's talking about how the Jews have so much more compared to everybody else and whatever the case is. I said, well, look at the mindset that they have, right? The whole mindset is about community, doing for yourself and doing business within your own community and within your own self. And they don't even charge each other interest, but they'll charge all the goyim interest and everybody else. It's not that's not a Jew. They'll charge interest and stuff like that. But we can't talk about how they have set their community up for continued generational wealth. If more communities would actually take this model that they have already been working for through generations, then we too would be able to be successful. But the government has gotten in the way of that through education and federalizing and pushing to the state level education, because the government knows better than you the education that your child needs for their future, which clearly it doesn't, because you graduate, you can't get a job. No. I need 5 years of experience with your degree.
How am I going to get that? How am I going to get that? I went through that when I was trying to get a medical sales job. I would make it to the final round of interviews every time. And they'd always say, listen, you just don't have experience. And I finally said, how do I get that? Finally, someplace gave me an opportunity, but literally went through 10 interviews before I was able to find something. It's just, it's insane. And like we said earlier, the ladder is stripped from you when the government takes over, and you're done. I mean, how many times have we heard the same story? A woman, with her kids, she decides to get a job. She starts making a little bit of money, says, I'm going to move out to the suburbs. I'm going to move out to a better neighborhood. And the government says, well, we're going to pull all your funding right now. And she says, well, I can't afford to do that by you pulling it right now. They said, well, then you better stay and you better get rid of that job. That's what happens.
Listen, it's crazy. I'm trying to find 10 friends to go buy like 400 acres and move out to the middle of nowhere. Okay?
Well, now you only need 9 friends.
But it goes back to community building, right? It goes back to investing in your own community, finding people that you can build with. But unfortunately, the state of mind that the majority of people have right now in the United States is they're not focused on building.
Not at all.
Because they've been told too long that they can't achieve, that the government is against them, that the world is against them, that they can't do better than what they're doing right now.
The government is against them, but it's only one side that's really
it's the people that are telling you that the government is racist that are the ones that are putting in the laws that are racist.
Exactly. They're telling you, like I said, I had this big thing written. I was going to say, I keep hearing that these from New York State, that these laws, the no bail, the raise the age, all this was for racial equity and racial justice. And I'm sitting here saying, who does this help? This helps only criminals. So does the left either know they're lying, or do they think every minority is a criminal? Because it only helps criminals. And if they're saying it's for racial justice, no, it's not. You know who it hurts more than anyone is the people in low-income areas, in the cities, in highly densely populated areas, right? It hurts them because they're sitting here saying, why am I going to tell the police anything when I know that person's going to be out later on, and I got a bullseye on me?
That's discovery laws right there, people.
Exactly. Defense attorneys.
Discovery laws. So, but like you're saying, these laws are terrible for the people that allegedly they're supposed to help and they're supposed to assist. And then, you look at it like this, right? The schools are setting people up to be criminals.
Correct.
Okay. They've gotten the police out of the schools. There's no discipline in the schools and all of this and all of that. I know some people advocate for solutions, not suspensions. If you ask me, the solution is the suspension.
Yes.
Okay.
Until you're reprimanded, you're going to continue to do the same.
Listen, unless maybe hear me out here. Maybe if you don't like suspensions, maybe we should bring back corporal punishment. Maybe we need the nuns with some rulers. Maybe we need the principal with a paddle. Maybe we need some behind whoopings.
Well, Marcus, you were talking earlier about all the juveniles committing the crimes in the Rodney Point stuff.
Behind whoopings.
Exactly. Because raise the age law, all that did was tell kids you're above the law until you're this age. And instead of holding people accountable, and no, I agree with you, Marcus. The more I looked into it, the more I said, you know what, we can't hold their guardians, responsible, because guess what? Like you said, a lot of them are trying.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't, but a lot of them are trying hard, and they just know they got a kid who maybe a woman who's working 3 jobs, trying to support her family. The husband left, and she's raising them on their own. Why should you hold her responsible, make her lose her jobs? It's ridiculous, but we got to hold someone responsible.
Right. When I was little, I have one of my favorite cousins. She was acting a raw riot. What did old people say? Smelling her oats, you know. So she was out there acting all rebellious and stuff like that. And then my uncle was like, "Listen, man, you can't be doing all of this and all of that." And he's like, "I'm gonna whip you." And she was like, "No, you're not. I'm gonna call child services or whatever." So he popped her one good one, and she called child services. Child services came, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna take her. We heard that you beat her or whatever the case is, whatever. So take her." I said, "Take her. You want her so bad, you take her. She's not acting right. You take her. You discipline." She's like, no, Dad, I don't want to go. Yeah, exactly.
It's hilarious because I did that same thing like that. I was a little kid and I did something wrong. He was cleaning out the garage. He took a little baseball bat, tapped me on the butt like that. He was like, "Get in the house." And I was like, "You hit me with a bat. I'm going to call whatever at the time." And he's like, "Go ahead, call him." He goes, "Call him. If they take you," I was like, "Never mind, I ain't going to call him."
Yeah, right.
It's like, okay. He's like, "You want to hold yourself accountable? Go ahead. Call him."
And see, this is the concept that we've gotten away from. That there's no discipline for the things that there should clearly be discipline.
Exactly, but there's discipline for the things there shouldn't be discipline for, like pronouns, things like that.
How dare you?
It's insane.
How dare you not use my pronouns?
Right? But feelings is the worst thing ever. Feelings hurt. You can't get your feelings hurt. You can get your arm hurt. You can get your leg hurt. You can get your head hurt. Feelings, you hurt your own feelings. If you're that soft that your feelings get hurt, you need to cry about it or have a rule change or a law change because of it. That's on you, man. I'm sorry, but I've never been.
I heard that if you don't use people's pronouns, it's violence.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
Yep, and the DHS Secretary of New York has said the other day that we need to stop the rhetoric of illegal alien talk. That is causing. No, it's not causing violence. You know what's causing violence? Allowing people into this country, even though they commit less crimes.
Did you see that? I saw a chart over the week. The less crimes.
The less crimes.
It's a lie.
If they commit 100% of them commit crimes. They came over illegally. That's a crime.
Every single one is that's a crime. Exactly. But if you even look at it, right? They try to say, oh well, natural-born citizens commit more crimes than migrants or whatever they call them, immigrants, right? Whatever the phrasing is, people, So they have the ones that are regular immigrants here, and then they have the chart that it says the illegal immigrants. And I said, well, if you look at it, if you combine the chart with the illegal immigrants and illegal aliens, if you combine that chart with the one from the legal immigrants, they commit a ton more than natural citizens. So what are we really talking about?
Well, they combine anytime during the RNC when illegal immigrants were mentioned to stop the illegal invasion, they would turn it around, MSNBC and stuff, turn around and say they're against immigration. Far, not even close. Not even close. We are against merit-based, or we are for merit-based legal migration. Because guess what? I have a friend who's he had a girlfriend who's a doctor. Actually, she's an oral surgeon, right, from Israel. She also gets a letter that her visa or whatever had expired. They were going to ship her out of this country. She's an oral surgeon in this country, so he had to marry her in order to keep her here. But I'm thinking, wait.
Well, most of the illegals in the country previous to this invasion were here from expired visas, and those are the first people that got to go, because y'all should have known better.
Yes.
I ain't got no pity on you. Get out.
Or if you come with a visa, a student visa, and you're protesting, Israel and you're for terrorist groups and stuff, you gotta go.
Well, here's the deal, right? We got all these people, and they're trying to give these people, and I'm gonna say it. And if you feel some type of way, sucks to be you. Okay, you're in your feelings. Okay, because I'm for America first. I'm for my country first.
Joe Scarborough can say it second, Marcus.
I can't. So we've got a serious issue with these people that they're trying to say, oh, we should give them citizenship, preferential citizenship, because they've got kids here now and they've been illegal for 15, 20 years. 15, 20 years and you ain't get right yet? And you ain't get right yet? You going to the bottom of the line. I'm sending you home first. You lucky if we give you the option to get a visa back into the country. You got to go.
It's insane. And when Trump says
You-
there's going to be mass deportations for illegals, people on the left make it sound like he's this crazy. But the fact is, most people, even on the left, agree with a mass deportation
I
for people
support
who are
mass
here
deportation.
illegally and didn't. I mean, come on. If you're here, if you come over the border illegally, they get separated from your kids
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I always say, if you get a DWI with your kids in the back seat, you get separated from your kids, right? It's that simple. But
Well, here's the deal, right? This is a crazy situation, and now here is where I get a little soft on the illegal immigrants and illegal aliens. Excuse my language, okay? Because I was confusing the immigrants and the illegals at the same time. But here's where I get a little soft on the illegal aliens, right? A lot of them are spending a ton of money to come to this country. Until we're talking
Tons.
tens of thousands of dollars. I've heard upwards of $30,000. Some of them
for
are
a family, yeah, of course, at 30 grand.
So where's this money coming from that they have? Who is financing this? If it's costing these people this much money, how are they ever going to pay that money back, or do they have it already? These are the questions that we're not asking.
Yes.
And if they got that much, then they can actually pay to get in here the right way.
Correct. And if
Okay.
they don't, what do they have to do in order to pay that money back? That's my biggest question. Do you have to care? Well, why is a woman with her two sons coming over when the father's down the road coming over? You know, what do they call it? Got away?
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's insane to even think about.
Well, it's very frustrating to see that because we have such a porous border and the immigration is so weak in our nation right now, that we've got all of these people just coming in left and right. And it's basically being encouraged. You're like, oh, well, the numbers have gone down because Biden put forth that executive order. No, they haven't. The numbers haven't gone down. He just reclassified
And
what it was.
It always goes down in the summer a slight bit because it's so hot. It always does every year.
But it didn't even really go
It didn't
down.
drop. No, it
He
didn't.
reclassified them.
And he's processing
You know,
it faster.
exactly. It's like fluoride, right?
Yeah.
Fluoride is a poisonous chemical, but they put it in your water because they reclassified it and told you that it was good
I
for
had
your
that
teeth.
written down here. I said, look, you can tell me there's a worldwide, you could tell me that COVID took this many deaths, but when you tell me cancer deaths went down by 400,000, I look and say maybe you just transfer those numbers a little
That's
bit.
a lie. The rates of cancer balloon. Okay,
Exactly,
they're up
exactly.
hundreds of percentages. We're seeing in young children, the rates of cancer are going up. They've gone up over 300%.
Yeah.
Like, are we really being serious right now?
Right.
And you can't talk about the shots or the side effects or anything
No.
like that. When now they're starting to come out and they're starting to say, oh, well, most of these shots are having serious side effects. Oh, really?
That's a fact, too.
Really?
I
I mean, I've got the platform, people have been showing me and all these other problems because that's what I've been saying from the beginning.
yeah, and you
You
should
know?
never push it on healthy individuals under the age of, 40, 50, whatever. Anyways, because the fact of the matter is the mortality rate, even from the get-go, was minute. But look, yeah, we could spend a whole show on that.
It's so ever so serious, and we need to have the real serious conversations, at least on here, that we're not able to have out in public because people don't want to talk about these things.
Mhm.
I look at it like this: we could talk about the federal government all day long. The federal government is super, super trash, and I don't care what side of the government that
I
you're
don't
on,
care either.
Democrat,
Yep.
Republican, Independent. The whole thing is trash, and if you're trying to grow the government, you are an enemy of the American people.
Yep.
Period. Okay, we were founded on small government, and if you want to increase the size of the government, you want to increase the budget more, you want to lift the debt ceiling, you
Yep.
want to do all of these things, you are going against the best interest of the
Yeah.
American people. We need to return to slimming down the government, getting a budget that's under
Single
control,
bills.
lowering the debt, and we need to end the Fed.
Yes.
And let me
Oh
not
my
say
God.
that too
Right.
much, right? Now, boy, a private bank
Powell is
controlling
like-
all our money.
He's gonna kill you for saying
Powell, man, listen,
that.
he can catch hands, bro.
Right?
Powell
No,
and Janet Yellen, the head of the U.S. Treasury, because she used to be the president
Right.
of the of it. Like, and they're supposed to be impartial, but she came right over from the Fed.
And they're supposed to be so smart. Yet I can listen to what she's saying and say that's just not even
Excuse
close
you,
to real.
inflation does not exist, is what she told you.
Transitory.
Then it was transitory. Now it's here forever. Now it's going to continue.
But it wasn't Biden's fault.
Powell just got in Congress the other day. He's like, it's going to continue until tokenization.
Yep.
Until the digital dollar, people. I've been
Yes.
telling you guys about this. You got to look into it.
And the Fed said they will absolutely not decrease rates until it gets to the goal of 2%, right? Because they said, doesn't matter if it's 2.4, it's got to be 2. Now Powell says, well, if it's 2.5, no, it's got to be 2% or else the economy.
Why are you? And the inflation is a lie. Somebody told me, oh, inflation is 2%.
No, it's
I
not.
said
It's 22%. more than that.
You're
actually.
generous. I was gonna
They
say
changed the process.
22%. Right. What are you measuring that on?
Right.
If I measure it at gas, it's up hundreds of percentages.
Hundreds.
If I measure it on a gallon of milk, it's up 50-60%
It's up
in the last
200%.
last 4 years. No, for real.
For real, it is. Yes.
For real, you're going to McDonald's. It's $20 for kids meal. What are we doing
I
here?
saw a guy who ordered groceries in 2000. What was it? 2018 or whatever, and it was a certain amount. It's like $100.
Oh, I saw
You see
that.
And the same exact order, reorder. It's literally over double. So I don't want to hear the $100 of groceries worth. You have to spend $125. No,
that's
it's
the
more
trick.
than that. It's more than that.
That's the trick. They'll tell you, oh well, it's only 2%. See, but
It's year over year.
It's
first of
no,
all,
that's
anyways.
not year over year. That's period over period.
Yes.
So
period
that's
over period.
that's each quarter that they do that,
Mhm.
and they're talking about. And sometimes the way that you got to really listen to them,
Yes.
because sometimes it might be the week.
Yes.
They
And
they're
it's
really
not even,
sneaky.
and they'll adjust it later on if it was wrong, but they won't
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
anybody.
yeah,
Same
yeah,
with
yeah,
job
yeah, yeah.
numbers.
Oh, those job numbers are so fake. I talked about this the other week. They had what they say it was. I can't even remember the number. It was like 200,000 jobs or something,
Yeah.
217,000 or something like that. Jobs were created, and that was less than expected. But like 70,000 of them were government jobs. Again, expanding the government.
And the rest are
And-
part-time jobs that people had to take to pay.
Well, but the
to pay
rest
for
are
food.
like our industry is like the healthcare industry and other industries
Mhm.
that the government heavily subsidizes.
Correct. Subsidized industries.
Yeah.
That's not real jobs.
No.
So that's not growth. That's not a
No.
market. That's the government saying there's a market, but there isn't a market.
And people got to work 2-3 jobs out here.
That's
to
the
try
biggest
to
problem
put
right
food
there.
on the table, pay rent, you have a car, and they don't want you to be able to drive anywhere.
So
Don't
you're gonna
even
count
start
adding
off
jobs that because I had to take 2 more jobs. You're gonna count those 2 jobs in your job growth numbers? Get out of here with that.
Well, but see, it also only includes the jobs that are jobs as far as listings, right?
Mhm.
So it doesn't mean actual hiring. So they can create all the jobs that they want. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that the jobs have been filled. And that's how they really get away
And
with
then
these
later in the
lies.
month, they come up with a redacted number, which is usually literally like 75% of that number, if that. And they'll say, you won't even hear that number. So, because they'll just keep that under the belt. But the government is dishonest. Let's be honest.
No, the government is very dishonest. And I'd like to remind you guys, if you guys are listening to us on the radio, make sure that you let all your friends and family know to tune into 106.3 Rochester Free Radio every Tuesday from 2:30 to 4 p.m. And if you're on the web, you're listening to us on wherever you are, X, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, wherever. Make sure you subscribe and make sure that you like and definitely share. Sharing is the best thing that you can do to help. It helps
Absolutely.
kick the algorithm to get it out to more people. But as we continue talking about this and what the manipulation that our government has for us, we need to paint a path forward. How do we grow forward? How can we benefit
Yes.
in the future? To do that, we have to restore action on the local level, people. We have to be getting engaged with these school boards so we understand what the kids are being taught.
That's huge.
So we understand what's going on. I don't know if I talked about it on the show before, but I went to a thing about a month or 2 ago now, and it was about the right to read, right?
Mhm.
And it was about how they have this new thing in school that they slipped in there when they slipped in that crazy math, what do they call it?
I don't even know.
You don't even remember what
It doesn't even look recognizable.
What
to
was it?
me.
Yeah, whatever. Common Core. There it
Yeah,
is.
count.
Common Core. So they got this crazy stuff called whole word language. So I didn't even know it existed. So whole word language is basically they give you like a picture and they give you a sentence and they'll tell you one word and then you got to guess from the one word in the picture what the rest of the words are. What? How is anybody
Doesn't even
supposed to
make
learn
sense.
like that? It's called whole word language. It's crazy. So the documentary that they were showing was about basically, and I'm summarizing because I don't know what it was. I don't remember what it's called. It's not that important. The concept though was phonics, right? Sounding stuff out, stuff like that. I'm like, what? Hooked on phonics in my head, right?
Yeah.
Hooked on phonics worked for me, and it's crazy. Okay, hooked on phonics did work for me. Number one,
It did work for a lot of people.
Number two, I did not like some of the things about hooked on phonics, but also I was learning language because I was little. Okay, I still don't like some of it, but it worked and it was good.
Exactly.
It was good at what its purpose was. But this whole word language is nonsense. Now we wonder why these kids can't read, can't write. This is why.
Yep.
And if we don't prepare them with the actual needed skills for life, like basic math, reading, writing, what they call that? The 3 R's,
Yep.
reading, writing, and arithmetic,
Yep.
then what are they going to do? they're not going to be able to take any jobs.
No.
So school board, get involved with your school board, see what's going on. Speak up against the issues that you're seeing. County ledge,
Yes, yep.
get involved with county ledge, get involved with city council.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, the school board meetings are just huge. Ryan, we were talking about that with Ryan Murphy. And it's just, people in the suburbs seem to get more involved, but it's the city that you really have to get involved. And when you get there, hold people accountable for why kids are, what are the numbers in the city schools right now for like graduation rates and proficiency rates? Insanely low. It's ridiculous. And there's no reason for that because they have their budgets monstrous. I mean, you were talking about that, correct? They get more funding than anyone. And it's the city schools that are creating a cycle that is just about to repeat again if we don't do something.
So I'd like to bring up this point. I just got a notification on my phone. Scott Pressler, if you guys aren't familiar with Scott, Scott does a lot of voter registration for the Republican Party across the nation. Okay. And he's just said that they flipped Bucks County in Pennsylvania. It's an amazing thing. So through voter registration, they flipped the whole county. It was a solid blue county, and it started to turn a little bit purple. He said that we can flip this county, and he did it. They did it with voter registration. This just shows you what happens when you get on the grassroots level and you start putting in the effort and putting in the work. He just posted this just like it says 20 minutes ago. So this is amazing. It's absolutely amazing, and it's a suburb of Philadelphia.
Which is insane.
Yeah,
think about.
I'd love to see Monroe County flip. It used to be a red county,
but
now it's very starkly deep purple.
Oh, I looked at the electoral maps over the last 100 years, and you should see how much they've gone like this up and down. I mean, there were states that were red that are now blue, blue that are now red. I mean, it used to just be the Mason-Dixon line and below was blue, and then be above. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at it, voter registration is important. So I encourage you guys all to make sure that your friends, family members, and stuff are registered to vote, or even go out and do a voter registration drive yourself. Hey, maybe you're a Republican and you want to encourage some other people to switch over from their party to Republican. Do that, okay? Just get active. And if you're a Democrat and you're listening to this and you're like, oh, you're just talking about this Republican stuff, why don't you encourage some Democrats that have a half a brain to actually start participating in the actual Democrat Party? Because the people that they have really seem to be running the stuff, or at least getting the most publicity and the most notoriety, are these people are so out of touch with the common man, with the everyday Democrat, and they just push these little small things like the abortion deal or things, but they can't eat.
No, exactly.
Exactly.
It's insane.
So where are these regular moderate conservative? I guess they're conservative now, right?
Yeah,
moderate Democrats.
Absolutely.
They've moved the line so far. People that used to be moderate, now they're conservative. So where are these regular Democrats that are in the Democrat Party that are fighting for some sensibility instead of this ridiculous nonsense and vague constructs of
they get attacked. And they just don't. I'm not saying they're cowards for that. I'm just saying
I am. Hold on. He said that you're not cowards. Listen, I'm calling out every Democrat, every Republican, every independent. If you are sitting on the sidelines and you see what's happening in our country, that people aren't able to eat and aren't able to feed themselves, that the taxes are too daggone high, okay, that the rent is too daggone high, that the mortgages are too daggone high, that it's almost impossible for people to be able to buy a house for themselves so that they can live on their own, and that the rates of the cars are too dang high. If you see all of this going on and you're sitting on your couch and you're murmuring to yourself and complaining to yourself for your loved one on your couch, and you're not getting out and starting to stand up and starting to speak up, I am calling you out. You need to stand up, you need to speak up, and you definitely shouldn't shut up about these issues that are very important. You need to take action. And I am I say was called cowards. The lot of you, any party, I don't care. Any party, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, okay, all of you, anybody that's sitting on the fence right now, okay, with these grandiose dreams of a socialist utopia, all of you cowards, okay, where are you when people need you? We got this socialist nonsense utopian fantasy going on here right now in Monroe County. They're talking about, we want what do you call it? A public utility. You want a public utility for the whole county or for the city of Rochester? I want no public utility. The majority of the people in the city don't even understand the concept of a public utility. You want the government to run a utility? Most of the people don't think that the government can run itself locally here. But you're saying that you want the government to now run a utility because the utility prices are too high. So instead of putting in things like laws, legislation, and policies that could actually address these issues that are going on with the high cost, with the misreadings of bills, with stuff like that, you want the government to take control over that? Oh, wait, but that's not true. They don't actually want the government to take care of it. They want to make their own nonprofit, and they want their nonprofit that they have the handhold on to actually be the one that's administering it, which will make it not a public, entity. Can we really be very clear? These people are selling you false bills of goods. You will never be able to cash them the same way you can't cash a dollar bill in for the silver or gold that you used to. This is real, people.
Oh, yeah.
And they're lying. They're lying to you. They're manipulating and they're cultivating your mind. The one thing I can say about the majority of everybody on all parties is that they believe, no matter what party they're in, that the government, including their own party, is not working in their own best interest. So why are we still empowering the government with more power? Let's stop that. Let's take back the power from the government, and let's stand up as Americans and say, these are the issues that we're having locally, and let's take it to the county ledge. Let's take it to the school board. Let's take it to the ballot box. Let's take it to the town and city council, and let's start getting involved. If we don't get involved, they're going to do whatever they want. They're going to sell you the dreams, and you're never going to receive any of it. If they took those things, they're talking about the public utility, right? The three biggest issues are the billing is wrong, it costs too much, and it changes too often. They can address those with legislation right now.
It has nothing to do with service.
It has nothing to do with who's in control of the service. They're like, well, they're making hundreds of millions of dollars off of profit. What profit? What is their expenditure a year? Is that net or is that gross? You can't even tell me.
They always use that excuse.
And how many people are under their service that we got 200,000 people in the city, right? They're all on RG&E basically, That's 200,000 people, right? 200 times 10. I'm not even gonna do a whole 12 months, right? 200,000 times 10, that's 2 million, right? So you mean that they're making $1 off of each person that they have a year? Like, how much money are they really making? Like, we're not being serious. And I use Monroe County to double it up like that because they have many cities and many jurisdictions all across the Eastern Seaboard. Like, it's not just us. So you're talking about fractions of a dollar are the profit that they're making, but you're trying to say that they're making all of these hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, it sounds like it's a lie.
Yes.
But if you look at the numbers of people that they have and the expenditures that they have, it's not a lie.
That's what they blame inflation on too. Corporate profits are an all-time high. How do you know that? Baby, it's insane to say that when you have no numbers to back that up or no proof to back that up. You're just saying that to take the accountability off yourself. It's that simple. It's off the government. The fact is, inflation has nothing to do with the corporate profits, and besides that, they're paying more for goods, which makes them charge us more for goods. It doesn't increase their profit, and if they do make a little bit more because they cut down lean and mean a little bit on their operations, great for them. That's capitalism. That's America. But to blame that on corporations, that inflation's up 30% since 2020.
Well,
it's insane.
You know what? Maybe I agree with them. Maybe it is a corporation. Maybe the corporation's profits are going up because of the change in the regulations of the monetary policy system in this country. Maybe the profits have gone up because they keep doing things that are in the interest of increasing the interest in our country that are costing more people more money. You go and you put your money in a bank, you're lucky to get a 1% return on your money annually. You're getting like a 0.5% return. But when the bank loans out money, they want 24%. Where's that money going? You understand what I'm saying? Where's it going?
And like you said, regulations take a huge toll on it as well. When you deregulate, you allow money to flow through much more smoothly because money hiccups don't happen. You're not having to worry about red tape popping up here and there and there. It's money that can flow down, trickle down, we call it, It really does. It flows more smooth. You don't have the worry of we need to have this bank account that's this huge and profits that are at this margin in case this pops up. There's a lot of things that change when deregulation happens.
But look, the government has also passed regulations and policies that have forced companies out of the country.
Absolutely.
I mean, this starts back, well, before Bill Clinton, but really largely in Bill Clinton under NAFTA when he started to send the jobs overseas.
Yeah, NAFTA was the worst thing ever.
It's the worst thing ever. It's crazy. In America, we're sending all of the business and all the manufacturing overseas, but all the people from overseas are coming here. Hello, something's wrong, people.
Right.
Can we have that conversation? That doesn't line up. If all the jobs are going overseas, how are we having all these people from overseas come here?
Right.
Make it make sense.
Why
Why isn't everybody in Mexico? All the jobs are in Mexico. How come they're coming up here? And it's not even the Mexicans that are coming up here. It's people from other countries. Mexicans don't even want to come here like that.
No. And let's get back really quick to the immigration thing. People don't, if they would look at asylum laws means you claim asylum on the first country that isn't,
right,
in turmoil. So if you're coming from, say, Venezuela and you hit Mexico, that's where your asylum legally is supposed to be under international law. But we don't even talk about that anymore. We just say keep coming up. And it's insane to think that, like you just said, that we have people coming from not even just Venezuela. So I mean, we're talking all over the world. You don't get out of China unless they let you out.
Hold on now. China's communist, Venezuela's communist. I heard that communism was supposed to be some type of utopia.
Right.
Why are these people leaving?
Exactly.
Oh, it's America. America's the problem of why they're leaving these communist countries. So wait, let's pause. What you're saying is the countries that are communist are so weak that the United States of America can manipulate those countries because they're a communist regime, and the power that is centralized in the hands of few is able to be easily corrupted and usurped.
Yep.
I'm just going with what you're telling me. It can only be one or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
You
can't have it both ways.
Can't have it both ways.
You can't say flee communism to come to future communism. It's insane.
But you see, the people coming from the communist countries aren't even the ones that want communism or socialism.
No, of course not.
They're the ones that are like, absolutely not. We don't want that here.
You don't find someone from Cuba saying, I'm coming here because I want it like it is in Cuba.
Never.
Never.
And this is the real problem. Like I have friends, and they'll tell you stories about their parents or their grandparents that have been in prison, that have been persecuted in Cuba and stuff like that, and tortured and all types of crazy stuff. People that never come home because they said something about the government and spoke up. We're not even hearing about the riots and protests in Cuba. Why is that?
No, that just ended. We heard about it for 2 days and that was it. Done.
It just disappeared. And it's still going on. And people are being mass incarcerated and stuff like that. People's children are never coming home.
Yep, I say that all the time. We never hear about that, though.
We don't hear about that, okay? Can we talk about those things? What's happening in China? We know that they're harvesting people for organs. We know that they're using rape as a tool of subjugation.
Sterilizing groups of people.
Right. Like, what is this? Like, this is communism? This is what you want? Like, are you serious? Like, what are we doing here that you're saying that you want that over there? And then, like, our friend on the show before us last week, he's like, these people, that's not real communism. Now we're talking neo-communism, neo-socialism, all of this nonsense. He's crazy too.
Where do you draw that line?
He's crazy too. Because ain't nobody listening to what he's actually talking about. If he believes that, which I don't believe that he believes that, and I don't believe him either way. Okay. But that's not what these people out here are talking about. That's not what they're talking about.
Not at all.
No, they're talking about a complete socialist regime. And what socialism's whole goal is to implement communism. Lenin said that himself.
Yes.
Like it's like we're not
party system of communism that can't be overturned. That's that system. It's that simple. You might have what looks like elections, but there won't be elections. I mean, it's that simple. It's the control of the few over the oppressing the men. It's that simple.
But this is the problem. It's what we're going through right now in our country. And I encourage you to read the book 1984.
Yeah.
I encourage you to read the book Fahrenheit 451. You got Animal Farm, you got Brave New World, you got the movie Equilibrium. I think I talked about that on here before. Go watch that movie because I know everybody don't like to read. Okay, go watch that movie. Essentially what we have these ruling class of few that are telling you that, they're doing all this austerity and all of that, when really they're living high off the hog and we're getting scraps of nothing.
Absolutely.
We're getting less than nothing. And the more that they can constrain you and limit your mobility and limit your ability to provide for yourself and make you more dependent on them, you're talking about nothing better than serfdom under what would you call it? Under a monarchy. You're talking about nothing better than that, and that's where we're going. We fought wars against that type of stuff. Where is everybody right now standing up? We fought a war against 2% tax, and now we're at almost 40, 50% tax when it's all said and done. Are we being for real right now? Like, Americans need to open their eyes, return to the fundamentals of our founding, go back and read some of the founding documents, read some of the influences that were as far as the different people and stuff, Thomas Paine, and people like that. You know, we got a lot of people that helped write different books and different pamphlets, short stuff that you can read in your spare time, about our history of how we got here.
And our system of government. Our system of government is so.
The Federalist Papers. Go read it. Start reading the Federalist.
Exactly.
Federalist.
Read why we're not a straight democracy. Because a democracy means 51% of the people can just oppress the views of 49%, and there's nothing you can do about it. But our government is so, with the checks and balances, being a constitutional republic and having a constitution allows us to not let that happen. The people who are in the minority of power still have a say, and that's very different than any other government around besides what used to be Brazil. But I mean,
how dare you? Am I Greta Thunberg?
Right? Right.
You?
Oh man, what, didn't she just get arrested again?
I don't know. Some whale guy got arrested in Greenland. He's an anti-whaler. I'm like, why are you against whaling? Don't you just see there was like 64 pilot whales that washed up on the shore the other day, and we got these whales washing up here, we got these whales washing up here, and it's always seems to be very much so right where they put a lot of these windmills.
Right,
we can't talk about that.
There. You can't talk. It has nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with it.
There was like one that washed ashore in an area in 100 years, and then they put those up, and in a matter of 5 years, like 65 washed up.
Yeah, and we can't talk about that. You know, and they'll say, oh, well, it's not causing any issues. First of all, you're destroying the ecology of that area by putting that there. It's never been there.
Yeah.
Now you're creating a new obstacle for all of the animals in the area. New sound. Yes, the sound of the vibration.
Everything.
New wind pressure and the wind flow and the water flow.
Like when they took the wolves out of Yellowstone National Park. What happened? The whole ecology changed. The whole ecosystem was altered until they put them back.
It was funny. Where was it? Maybe it was Victor or somewhere. I can't remember where it was. This happened like last week. No, it wasn't. Maybe it was Penfield or Irondequoit, somewhere near here. And they were like, we've got a problem with foxes. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, they've got a problem with foxes. They were complaining about the foxes. I said, how are you complaining? New York killed all of the wolves, and now you're complaining about foxes.
About smaller animals.
And you keep encroaching on the wooded areas, and you're complaining about the foxes.
Complaining about hunters, complaining about everything, everything that would stop smaller animals from being around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go out in the middle of the forest and then complain about the bugs.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's just crazy.
I'm not going to cut a bunch of trees down and complain there's no trees. I mean, it's just that simple.
But that's what happens all the time.
Exactly.
You know, we have a very, as we really start to get into the tail end of our show today, you know, we have a very serious issue in our country where we have, as a society, started to cultivate this groupthink around the fact that it's all about what it looks like and what I perceive it to be.
Correct.
Not about what is actually going on.
Not about results. It's about, like you said, what people say the results are going to be, not what the actual results are.
Exactly. And we need to start to move away from that. We need to break out of our silos, break out of our independent compartments, and actually listen to other people that have different points of view. You don't have to agree, but you should understand where they're coming from, because I guarantee you that there's somebody else that thinks the same way they do.
Exactly.
At least now you know why they think that way, and now you might be able to craft a better argument against it.
At least do what Amber Rose did, and when her father said, you know, prove to me Trump's racist, she said, all right, I'll go prove it, but she couldn't. You know, she said, man, she goes, and at least she went and tried.
Yeah.
At least you went and tried to prove it. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to say something,
I still don't think that she should have spoke at the RNC convention, but that's a separate conversation. Go ahead.
If you're going to say something, you better be prepared to somebody say, prove it, or give me some evidence, or why, how. Because when you look like when they have those shows, like, you know, Jesse Waters show, he goes out on the beach. He's like, what do you think about this? Oh, that's a great person. Well, why? What have they done? They're just like, it's like, well, you can have an opinion, but it don't really mean anything if it's not based on anything. So
the scariest thing is when they go out and they ask questions, like they'll ask questions that are very simple, like how many states are there?
yeah, or
How many stars are on the
what are we
American
celebrating
flag?
on the 4th of July? They were asking, and people were like, Civil War.
What
It
is
was
the
crazy.
capital of the United States?
Yeah. People are like,
what
Bismarck.
yeah,
You know?
they don't know. They
No, they
really,
really don't.
they
They
really
don't even know who the vice president is. You know, ask somebody who's the vice president. I'm like,
I know who the vice president is. I don't know who the vice president.
yeah, but in reality, no, but you're right. That some of the stuff that I can't believe people don't know is insane to me, and those people are going to go past the vote. So it's insane.
So I saw a post. It had somebody in the car with the windows rolled up. It was the middle of the summer, and they had like a mask and a face shield on, and it said, "Remember, in November, this person's vote counts."
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it's funny, and we laugh at it, but it shows us how completely separate people's conception of what actually is important in society is. I like all of the people that are all masked up and all of that stuff to go live in their own little communes.
Right. That's
okay?
Right.
That you go do you over there and let everybody else alone.
I saw one the other day with somebody all messed up, and a meme it said, "Is that bandage on his ear necessary?" But they had all this stuff up.
Yeah. These are the people. Remember, those are the people who put the masks on the kids playing the flutes with the slit in the mask.
Yep, and they had those green bubble suits they were wearing, where they had to play the instrument inside of them.
That put the plexiglass in the classroom. These are these same crazy people.
It's insane.
That's insane. Literally insane. You know, and it's like that was the big defy, bro. It was like, how far can we push this? That was the government. How much can we make these people?
They said you
look
can't
like
go outside
fools?
and jog by yourself. It was like,
don't go out and spend any time in the sun. Remember they said don't go spend time in the sun.
Close the beaches.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Don't go to the gym either. Gym closed.
No,
gym closed. Liquor store open.
They arrested people for opening up the gyms.
Liquor store open. Gym closed.
Church is closed.
Church is closed. It's insane. It's really, really insane. And you have to look at the direction that we're going as a nation, because I speak often on us as a nation because I identify as an American first and foremost.
Yeah.
Well, before that, I identify as Christian, period, point blank. Then as an American. So as far as that goes, my allegiance is to the Lord Almighty in heaven above and to our country. So if we don't care about our country and everybody in here that is an American citizen that is concerned about the direction of our nation, what are we doing? What are we doing? We are letting other countries get ahead of us. We are letting other countries move forward without us. And we're being left behind in a lurch as our government becomes more globalist, ceding our power to unelected bureaucrats in other countries like the World Health Organization or the what do you call it? The UN and the United Nations and the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and all of these other weird bodies that most of the people don't even know what it is. But we really have to understand that it's up to us to start to stand up and to speak up, because if we do not, nobody is coming to save us.
Correct.
And that's my message for you guys. You got to get active. You got to get active. Go ahead, Brian.
No, that's perfect. You're right. It's the whole thing is like I always say, just if you are so dead set on your opinion that you don't have anything to back it up, maybe you shouldn't spread that opinion until you do a little research on it. Maybe have some facts to back it up. And I just say that all the time because I see so many people want to argue with other people, yet they're arguing and they're just throwing one sentence at each other. Neither one of them have an in-depth argument as to why. Exactly. Talking points and talking points. And it's like it's when you look at a party whose whole campaign is based on like two slogans of threat to democracy and this and that. And you got to ask, well, where's the policies that are going to make us better in the future, that are going to help us in the future? And when you see those diminish or not even be around at all, you got to ask some questions. What am I voting for? Who am I voting for?
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah, and it really, really is that simple. We look at it like this. They've been yelling at us, oh, we're protecting democracy from Trump or whatever the case is. I know a whole bunch of people that voted for Biden in the primary. Now you're taking him off the ballot.
Exactly.
Okay, so you tried to force Trump off the ballot. Now
14 million votes gone.
You forced Biden off of the ballot. Now there's going to be a convention in August for the Democrats, and you're not going to have a voice in it.
No, the delegates.
You're not going to. It's going to be people that you don't even really know are the ones who are going to change, because you're not voting for Biden anymore. So technically, there needs to be a whole new
But
primary.
they've been doing that for decades with for Bernie Sanders and stuff. You might not think he was going to win, but guess what? If he wins, you got to put him out there as your candidate. But they wouldn't let that happen for the last 2 presidential elections.
Well, they had that Dean guy that was trying to run, and
Marianne
they
Williamson
they
and
had
stuff.
well, she was libertarian. No, she
No,
was
she's
Democrat. She's
Democrat.
Democrat,
Yeah,
right?
she's Democrat.
Yeah. Marianne Williams and what's it called? RFK.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
That's why he has so much animosity
Yeah.
towards the Democratic Party right now. It's because you just literally told him you can't. We're going to save democracy by not allowing you to participate in a democratic election.
Hey, I mean, this is really, really crazy what we saw happen. And the way they pushed him forward, got everybody hyped about him.
Right.
Everybody voted for him in the primary. Now they snatched the rug out from underneath your feet.
Literally.
But guys, we got to start to wrap up
Yeah.
here. So we're going to get ready to close for today. So, Brian, what you got for us in closing?
Just happy to be back. See you guys next week, and check out our YouTube channel at Divide Right on Red. Post some new videos. I post the show and other new videos every week. And check out our webpage. Or actually, we got a webpage coming.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming up. But check out our Facebook page, Twitter feed, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and you guys, I want to encourage you guys to make sure that you get active, encourage other people to get active, and also follow the Marcus C. Williams channel on YouTube and on Rumble. And you guys can find me on Facebook or X, wherever you are. But make sure that you're getting active and you're standing up. And remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. You guys be blessed and be well. Make sure that you tune into The Divide next week at 2:30 to 4 p.m. on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell some people that you don't even like that live down the street. Tell them to tune in, and we'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well.
Take it easy, guys. Good stuff.
Yep, and we're off. All right, you guys, have a good one.
Dude, I can't-